Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the travel industry, and we're going to talk about a massive company that's probably planned your vacation, booked your hotel, and maybe even reserved your dinner table, all without you ever really knowing its name.
So, just think for a second about the last trip you took. Did you book any of it online? A flight, a hotel, maybe a rental car? Yeah, of course you have. It's just how we all travel now.
I'm willing to bet you've used at least one of these sites, maybe Booking.com for a hotel in Europe, or Priceline for a great deal in the US, or hey, maybe you used KAYAK to compare flight prices, or even OpenTable to snag a restaurant reservation. I mean, these are household names in travel, right?
Well, here's the twist. These guys aren't actually fierce competitors fighting for your money. Nope. They're all part of the same family, owned and run by a single American travel technology company, Booking Holdings. And this isn't just some random collection of websites. Oh no, this is a strategically built empire of brands. The best way to think about it is like a giant supermarket for travel, where every single aisle is designed for a different need you might have.
What's so clever here is how each brand has its own clear mission. So you've got Booking.com, that's the global giant for pretty much any hotel anywhere. Priceline, that's the king of the US discount market. Agoda is their key to the massive Asia-Pacific region. And then there's KAYAK, which is brilliant. It doesn't actually sell you anything, it just helps you compare prices and then funnels you right back into one of their other sites. And with rentalcars.com and OpenTable, they've expanded beyond just giving you a place to sleep. It's this incredible, resilient system.
So, you're probably wondering, how does a company this enormous actually operate? Well, the secret is in what they don't own. And that one strategy lets them build a global powerhouse with a model that is, believe it or not, surprisingly simple.
The whole empire is built on what's called an asset-light model. Now, what does that mean? It means Booking Holdings doesn't own a single hotel, not one airplane, not a single rental car. They're basically a digital matchmaker, a gigantic marketplace that connects you, the traveler, with the people who do own all those things.
And this right here shows you the genius of it. A traditional hotel company, they have to buy land, construct buildings, hire thousands of people for every single location. It's incredibly slow and costs a fortune. Booking Holdings, on the other hand, just owns a digital network. They can add a new hotel in a brand new country with just a few clicks. It makes them unbelievably flexible and lets them scale globally at a speed that traditional companies can only dream of. So how did they build this thing? Well, it didn't just appear overnight. It was pieced together bit by bit over 2 decades through a series of really, really smart and strategic buys.
Okay, so the journey starts back in the 90s with Priceline, but the real game changer, that was in 2005, when they bought this little Dutch startup called Booking.com. That became the global heart of the company. Then, in 2007, they added Agoda to capture Asia. In 2013, they bought KAYAK to control the search and comparison part of your journey. And in 2014, they grabbed OpenTable to get into the dining and experiences game. See, each purchase wasn't random, it was like a puzzle piece that helped complete the picture of a total travel ecosystem.
So, the big question is, did this strategy actually work? Well, the numbers tell a pretty staggering story of insane growth, a near-total collapse, and then an absolutely unbelievable comeback.
Let's rewind back to 2010. The company was already a big deal, pulling in a little over $3 billion in revenue. That's a very solid foundation to build on. But in less than a decade, that solid foundation just exploded. By 2019, revenue had shot up to over $15 billion. This was the company at its absolute peak, right before the entire world just stopped. And then 2020 happened. As global travel just vanished overnight, their revenue got slashed by more than half, dropping all the way down to $6.8 billion. For a business that is built entirely on people moving around, this was a massive, massive threat. But the comeback is honestly even more staggering. By 2024, they didn't just get back to where they were. They soared way past their old peak to a projected $23.7 billion. It's just a huge testament to how resilient their model is and the sheer power of pent-up travel demand.
The scale today is just, well, it's mind-boggling. We're talking $166 billion with a B in gross travel bookings, a net income of almost $6 billion. And in 2023, for the first time ever, travelers booked over 1 billion room nights on their platforms. So the key thing to get here is this isn't just a big company. It's a fundamental piece of the entire global travel infrastructure. But, no empire is invincible. And being a titan of travel also means you're exposed to some absolutely titanic risks. It's not all smooth sailing from here on out.
Their single biggest vulnerability is that they are completely dependent on people traveling. Another pandemic, a deep global recession, that could hit them, and hit them hard. You've also got fierce competition, not just from other big booking sites, but from hotels trying to get you to book directly with them. And then you add in new regulations and the fact that they rely on millions of individual hotel and property owners, you can see the challenges are very, very real.
So, after looking at the brands, the model, the crazy numbers, and the risks, what's the big takeaway here? Why does this one company matter so much? Well, because it's a perfect case study in how to build a modern digital empire.
Their entire strategy can pretty much be boiled down to this powerful four-step playbook. It starts with a simple rule: go asset light. Own the network, not the stuff. Next, buy strategically, picking up the pieces you need to build a complete ecosystem. Then use that foundation to scale globally with technology. And finally, diversify everything, so you're spread across every type of travel service you can imagine. This quote from the source analysis really hits the nail on the head. Booking Holdings is basically a masterclass in how you can use a digital platform to build a protective moat around your business, grow incredibly fast, and handle enormous scale without needing to own billions of dollars in physical stuff. Which, of course, leaves us with one final and really crucial question. This playbook worked brilliantly for the last 20 years, but as AI and new technologies start to completely change how we plan and book travel, can this unseen giant adapt and evolve to dominate the next era of travel? Well, that remains to be seen.